Hey Canucks fans, today I want to talk about two unique opportunities that the Vancouver Canucks have this season. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take on one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, December the 9th. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. Not at work today, taking a break so I can prepare for my final exam for my master's at this Friday. And I'm taking a break from my master's right now to record this video. And I want to talk about two opportunities that the Vancouver Canucks have facing them this season. And we're excited about hockey. We're excited for January 13 return. As I talked about yesterday, NHL and the NHLPA have agreed to not talk about the financials anymore, not to renegotiate, not to reopen the terms of their MOU that they signed in the summer, and instead are focusing on getting the season going. Scheduling, COVID protocols, roster size, taxi squad, divisional realignment, all those things. But we're hearing a lot more hockey talk, and it's a beautiful thing on the radio, on TV, on the internet, on Twitter, whatever it may be. And for me, and I'm sure for you hockey fans and Canucks fans especially, it's an exciting time as we hope and we look ahead to a mid-January start. Speaking of the Vancouver Canucks, I want to talk about two opportunities that they have this season that could make them even a better team if they take advantage of these opportunities. The first one is the fact that Quinn Hughes and Pettersson, our two best players, they are still in their entry-level contracts. Now they're going to their third year, their final year of their 3-year ELCs, but together they're making less than $2 million combined, salary and especially on the cap hit, which is the most important thing. Your two best players making $2 million combined, that's pretty amazing. And we know that Pettersson has played 2 full seasons and he's entering his 3rd full season. Hughes only played 5 games at the end of 2018-2019, then played the full season last year, and now he's entering his 3rd season. So from a contract perspective, they're both considered entering their 3rd year. And we look at Quinn Hughes' scenario, it's kind of interesting. Those 5 games that he played at the end of 2018-2019, they count as a full year when it comes to his contract. So that's why he's also, like Petey, entering his 3rd year. But when it comes to arbitration, when it comes to offer sheet, when it comes to expansion, that year doesn't count as a full year because he only played 5 games and not 10. So he can't be offer sheeted. He doesn't have arbitration rights. Not that that's going to really matter. And he can't, he doesn't have to be protected in the expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken franchise. So that's a big benefit to the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, the benefit to Hughes to playing those 5 games is it gets him to his next contract 1 year earlier, and of course, more money 1 year earlier. But my point is, Pettersson and Hughes together, they are making only, they're combining for less than a $2 million cap hit. So in a perfect world, the Canucks would take advantage of this and bolster their roster and make a run for the cup now. But can they do that when they have $20 million locked up in guys like Eriksson, Sutter, Beagle, Roussel, Berchi, and even Tyler Myers? I know I want to throw him in there as well because I'm going to refer to him in a little bit in my second point. Now, these contracts, except for Myers, they're all coming off the books in the next 1 or 2 years, but that's good. But by the time 1 or 2 years are done, obviously Pettersson and Hughes are going to be in their next contracts, and Pettersson stands to make whatever $8, $9, $10 million next year. Hughes might make $6, $7, $8 million a year. We don't know that for sure, but the point is, it would be amazing if we had that a little bit of that cap space to do other things, to get another top 6 forward, to get another defenseman or whatever it may be. Yes, we may get a bit of relief. We might get $3.5 million or so if Michael Furlan goes on LTIR, but you can't count on that. And that's still not enough where, I mean, we like more than that so we can acquire more with more money, of course. So that's the first window of opportunity that I'm not sure if Benning and the Canucks management will be able to take advantage of, but I want to lay it out there that Pettersson and Hughes, they're in the final year of their cheaper ELCs. The second point is the Seattle expansion draft that's going to happen at the end of this season. And we know that teams have a choice of protecting 11 players, 7-3-1, 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, 1 goalie, or 9 players, 4-4-1, 4 forwards, 4 defensemen, and 1 goalie. A team would pick the 9 as opposed to 11 if they have more quality defensemen that they want to protect. You can protect 1 more defenseman at the expense of protecting 3 fewer forwards. Now, the Canucks have a unique opportunity here to not only bolster their roster, but to take advantage of another team. Well, or maybe it's the other way around. You can take advantage of another team and then bolster your roster. As it stands right now, the Canucks will likely protect Nate Schmidt, Olli Juolevi, and Brogan Rafferty. Likely expose Tyler Myers. That doesn't mean we don't like what Tyler Myers is doing, but he does have a big contract. And if you put him out there and don't protect him, you expose him, it's unlikely that Seattle's going to pick him up. And even if they do, depending on what you think of Myers, you think that might be a bonus. But Seattle likely won't touch Myers and his big contract if there's a guy like a Braden Holtby or Cole Lind or Zach McEwen that's available. So that's why it's a business decision. It makes sense to not protect Tyler Myers. So if you're looking at Schmidt, of course, Juolevi, yes, you want to protect him. And then Brogan Rafferty, you could actually expose Rafferty if you had a better quality defenseman, and Rafferty might not even get picked up, like I said, compared to like a McEwen or a Lind that might be exposed, or Holtby. So you have an opportunity there. So what you do is you look at the other NHL teams, those teams that have way more defensemen than the Canucks that they want to protect. And whether it's 3 or 4 or even 5, there are going to be teams out there that won't be able to protect all the guys that they want to. So you go to those teams and you say, hey, we will either trade you an asset for this defenseman, and therefore you're not losing a defenseman for absolutely nothing to Seattle, or we can make an agreement like Anaheim and Vegas did, which I'll get to in a second. And I looked around the entire league, and there's at least 4 or 5 teams. I didn't go through every roster in depth, but just looking at rosters very quickly, I think teams like Carolina, Colorado, Montreal, St. Louis, they're all teams that potentially could want to protect more than 3, even more than 4 defensemen in the expansion draft. So like I said, you go to those teams and you offer them a deal. A deal like maybe Anaheim and Vegas did back in June 2017. Now maybe GMs are going to get a lot smarter than this because they saw what happened. Basically, Anaheim had 6 defensemen, or at least 5 defensemen that they wanted to protect, but you can't protect 5. And they also had a bunch of forwards they wanted to protect. So they ended up protecting Kevin Bieksa, Cam Fowler, and Hampus Lindholm. Wow, it's crazy when you think of Bieksa, Fowler, and Lindholm and just how quickly things changed. So that was 3 years ago only, 3 summers ago. And then they did not protect Josh Manson or Sami Vatanen, 2 really good defensemen. So they had 5 defensemen you can see that they wanted to protect. So they went to Vegas, Vegas, I should say, went to Anaheim and says, we will take one of your defensemen. We're going to take, one of those young defensemen off Manson, Vatanen, or whoever. And they ended up working a deal where they agreed not to take Manson or Vatanen, even though they were left exposed. And they instead, Anaheim traded Shea Theodore to Vegas in agreement for Vegas not taking either Manson or Vatanen. So obviously Shea Theodore was number 6 on that hierarchy there on their priority list for Anaheim. Instead, Vegas takes Clayton Stoner forward, only 1 year left on his contract. I don't know if he even played for Vegas or if he did that much for Vegas now I think about it. But we know who Shea Theodore has turned out to be. A top 10 defenseman, one of the youngest, a young blue liner who's going to be a staple in the top defenseman discussion for many, many years. We saw the damage he did against the Vancouver Canucks in this past postseason. So we know how good Shea Theodore turned out to be. But Vegas did not have to give up any asset. Well, they didn't have any. They didn't have to give up any players, I should say. They didn't have to give up any future assets. All they gave up was the right to choose either Manson or Vatanen. And they still got, obviously, Clayton Stoner as the actual pick. And they ended up getting basically a defenseman for free in Shea Theodore. Like I said, a top defenseman in the entire league. So that was a huge score for Vegas. And maybe GMs won't do the same thing this year with the Seattle expansion draft, knowing how it burned Anaheim in the end. And you can't tell. Of course, Anaheim would love to have Shea Theodore on their roster right now. So will Jim Benning, will Canucks management be astute enough to seek out these opportunities throughout the league? I sure hope so, because they have the roster space to do it, and there are teams that would likely do at least something, at least trade a defenseman for another asset coming the other way, as opposed to losing them for absolutely nothing to Seattle. So that's another opportunity. So whether it's the Pettersson and Hughes on entry-level contracts, or it's leveraging their expansion draft profile, those are 2 opportunities I want to lay out to you. I would love to know what you think. Do you think the Canucks will be able to take advantage of either opportunity, both opportunities, or none of them, neither of them? So are they going to be able to go 0, 1, or 2? Would love to know your thoughts. I would obviously love it if they could take advantage of both somehow, bolster the roster now by making some moves and then do something cool at the expansion draft. But that remains to be seen. But the fact that we're talking about this kind of thing is pretty exciting to me. So Canucks fans, leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. God bless and go Canucks go.